How is the real estate market rocking along? Are there really mysterious ways to buy or sell a home? How many U2 song titles and references can one show have before it feels like you have vertigo? If you haven't already guessed, it's a U2 theme for this pod. Crank up the volume to 11 because it's time for the Rockin' Realty Show. I'm your host, Jonathan Dugan from Elite Agents powered by eXp Realty, and I'm here to rock your world with the ultimate real estate and rock and roll experience. In this half-hour jam session, we'll dive into the rattle and hum of the real estate market, plus I'll be interviewing my special guest and get their insight on everything from real estate to rock and roll and all kinds of other things. Don't miss my retrospective on a classic U2 album and my audience Q&A session. Text me directly with your questions, comments, or rock and roll refutations. Yes, Chris, I made up that word. At 248-462-0776, or you can find me on the web at dugansellsrealestate.com for more ways to connect. Now, grab your air guitar, throw on your favorite concert tee, and let's kick out the jams with our first segment, Rockin' Realtor Report. According to the latest stats available, nationally, home prices appear to be burning steady like an unforgettable fire. In the comparison to the last 3 months, with another modest 4% gain in median house pricing year over year. The market appears to be running to stand still, with a plateau on national price gains in comparison to the double-digit growth we've seen for the prior years. The number of homes for sale nationally is actually up 19% in comparison to last year, which is magnificent for the lack of inventory we've had recently. More people are asking, who's going to ride your wild horses, with new houses up over 5%. Sellers are out celebrating the beautiful day and testing the market, while others are still saying, I will wait till the New Year's Day to make a decision. The average monthly supply was held at 3 months, which is helping buyers go from where the streets have no name, saying, this is even better than the real thing. Michigan, pride, in the name of love, of course, has median home prices still gaining at a modest 6.4% increase year over year. The average home price hovering around $276, which is actually up $3,000 from last month. Locally, pricing is swooping up like an acrobat, with growth in Flint, Bay City, Saginaw, Pontiac, and Rochester Hills leading the way. The number of homes for sale is up 10% year over year in God's country that we affectionately call the Mitten State. New listings are no longer invisible, with a 7% jump in inventory leading to just over 2 months' supply locally. Houses are still selling, but not seconds like prior months. Homes are selling at asking price, with buyers and sellers finding two hearts that beat as one in a lot of areas. That being said, the numbers are definitely tightening up, with a portion of buyers being finicky and saying, we still haven't found what we're looking for. Sellers are starting to surrender and lower the price if they don't get results in a reasonable time. Mortgage rates are no longer stuck in a moment you can't get out of. It's the sweetest thing for buyers as rates come down into the low 6% and even 5% APR if you can pull off a 15-year mortgage. And the mortgage industry is trying to throw their arms around the world to help buyers with down payment assistance and other ways to help buyers get on their boots and quench their desire to purchase a new home. So what does that mean for you, music fans? Well, let's groove on down with some real estate wisdom. From 30,000 feet, the numbers indicate that the market continues to plateau as we head into October. Sellers who are waiting to sell at the top of the market are running out of time as the market continues to numb. It is still a good time to get in the market and see if a great offer is worth a celebration, but wait too long and your value may have a moment of surrender. Are you thinking about selling? Make sure your house has pop and is priced correctly if you still want top dollar. Working with me and my team of elite agents can guide you to quality decisions that will meet your real estate goals and make sure buyers come ready to blow your house down with a great offer. My team and I know what to do to quench your desire to sell and get you the best results. Are you on the fence about selling? A free consultation with me or one of my team members will have you dancing barefoot with the peace of mind that you need so you have a good plan to move forward. So call me directly, 248-462-0776, and we will set up a time to explore the best options for your specific circumstances. Buyers are being aggressive when they find the one. Still, buyers are no longer staring at the sun and won't overpay for anything that is not the sweetest thing. As the market begins to balance out, existing listings are not snatched up right away, so they are tending to linger and have a price decrease in a little while get them sold. A patient buyer can find that house on One Tree Hill and rise above with an elite agent by their side. So is it time to move? Do you need to sell to buy? Are you a first-time home buyer? Your best path to great value is to talk to me and my trusted team of elite agents to get started. An elite agent will do more than set up a search. We'll provide you a process for success. Let us help you make the winning offer needed to land your dream home. So text or call me directly, 248-462-0776, to get a free consultation regarding your specific circumstances, what we can do to make your housing dreams a reality. Is it time to expand your real estate portfolio? With houses sticking around longer and commercial opportunities abundant, there are great opportunities to find that rental income or flip that will increase your net worth and create some generational wealth. Trying to find the diamonds on your own is hard. It's time to talk to me and my team of elite agents about the best places to be mining. We will work with you to make a plan that puts profits in your pockets. Call or text me, 248-462-0776, and let's formulate the right strategy for your profit margins. Let's take some time for adventures in real estate. A home is more than just a place. It's an extension of who you are. This can make for very beautiful homes and also some really interesting results. I have had many interesting adventures with my clients, and in this segment, I am sharing different fascinating experiences that you might find humorous, shocking, or even educational. I was at a Detroit showing a while back, and the house looked reasonably normal from the outside, and the rest of the houses on the street seemed to be in good condition. I got the key from the lockbox and opened the old oak door to let my client and I have a look around. One light bulb hung from the ceiling to illuminate a living space of crumbling plaster and ripped up floors. Through the doorway across the room, we could see a dilapidated kitchen with sagging cupboard doors and empty spaces where appliances should be. This isn't anything like the pictures, my client said to me. And I chuckled and said, seems like a fixer-upper. Let's have a look upstairs. While I carefully tested the first step to see if it would hold, I noticed that the railing looked like, well, a gap to a smile. So we carefully walked up into the hallway, past the bathroom with missing tile, a single bulb hanging from the ceiling, and I don't think it's appropriate for me to tell you what the toilet looked like. But we then got to the door at the end of the hall, and I gently pushed it open. On the other side of the door, we found a palatial area. Purple walls, plush carpet, expensive furniture, a gleaming master bath, and a studio kitchen filled with shiny stainless steel appliances. The king-size bed had 4 posts and beautiful tapestry. I did a double take as my client looked around and was trying to make sense of this area versus the rest of the house. So what's the moral to this story? Pictures never tell you what's really going on. They give you an idea of what is going on in the house, and they can give you some insight as to if this house is going to work for you. But as a buyer, you should always see, touch, and even smell any house you're thinking about buying. Even a fixer-upper needs a good once-over before you decide if you want to make an offer. As an elite agent, I know all the best practices to make sure you get your desired results. I can connect you with people and resources to help you anticipate costs for remodeling, for that fixer-upper, or at least we can go through some of the value proposition before you decide what you're going to do. Don't know where to start? Well, you can call or text me directly, and I can get you on the path to success. 248-462-0776. I'd like to introduce my very patient, special guest for the Real Estate Rock Talk. I want to welcome one of my friends, Roy Reynolds from GST Michigan Works. Roy, welcome to the Rock and Realtor Show.
Thanks for having me, John.
How are you doing today?
Not bad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, for our listeners, if you had to give your 30 to 90 second elevator pitch, Michigan Works, what is your guys' mission? What do you guys do?
So, GST Michigan Works, GST standing for Genesee, Shiawassee, and the Thumb. Really what we're here to do is connect people. We work with job seekers that are looking for help, assistance, maybe help with an interview, process or resume building. We do a lot of those workshops with our career coaches, and then on our business side of things, which is me, a business solutions professional, I work with the businesses. Nice. So I walk in, say, hello, John. What's keeping you up at night? What can I help you with? Are you having trouble finding people? Where are you posting your jobs? Do you need training for your people? We work a lot with the state and federal funding, as far as grants go. So we might be able to help you offset that cost. But we got to get to know you, build a relationship, and do some of those things. But then there's other things we have, like events that we put on, job fairs. So for instance, Fenton Winery and Brewery here in Fenton, we do a lot with them. we are showcasing them for the month,
Nice.
essentially. So it's what we call our employer showcase. We just promote why everybody would want to work at Fenton Wine and Brewery, and all the great things that they're doing. Matt and Jenny, the owners, I mean, they do outstanding work for their team, and they really do. They call them their team. They don't call them their employees. We're creating like a film, like a commercial for them to promote them.
Nice.
And
when
then,
is the hiring event?
so it'll actually be on Tuesday, September the 24th.
Okay.
From 11 to 1.
Nice.
Be on site at Fenton Wine and Brewery. So anybody that's looking to possibly wait tables, bartend, cook, they need culinary people. They do a lot, with weddings and the restaurant itself. But yeah, Matt and Jenny would be the ones to talk to on that.
Well, I think that's interesting because from a personal experience, when my daughter Morgan, sophomore in college, trying to find something to do for the summer that would kind of internship style, but she wanted to get paid.
Yeah.
And, I encouraged her down in Ann Arbor to search for a job down there. And she kind of wanted to stay down there. But I got a call from her, and can you help me try to find a paid internship for the summer?
Yeah.
And I put an email together with her resume, and I said, hey, my daughter's looking for paid internship. I got some response, but, oh, yeah, we'll see what we can do, And then I got her information to you. You reached out to me and said, hey, tell me a little bit more about what's going on.
Yeah.
But then you connected with Morgan.
Right.
And you talked to her about what was going on. And then through all of your contacts and your activity, she ended up working at the Fenton Winery Brewery with a paid internship, doing stuff that is relevant to her field. It wasn't all relevant to her field, but it was a great learning experience. And then on the side, she would work some of the events on the weekends to make some extra money.
Yep.
She was very happy. She learned a lot. I mean, she came home to me, and I was like, well, how's it going? And she said, well, I have lots of ideas on how we could make this better, and I'm not getting as much specific instruction, so I'm not sure this is really, I'm not sure this is really an internship. 3 months later, she was like, that was such an awesome experience. I needed to have a goal without, detailed instructions like I used to get in high school.
Right.
Like I needed to learn how to do that stuff where, hey, we need this, figure it out, know.
It's time to
they
learn.
had guidance and they had a clear goal of what they wanted, but they didn't necessarily have a step-by-step, here's how you post food on Instagram.
Right.
Like, you're in this field. So for me, that was a really cool experience. And I've heard from other people, I mean, do you literally have a resume in your pocket right now? Or?
They're over there in my bag.
Yeah. Well, and I think another great story that I was hoping you might share is about Hank. You guys were able to do for Hank.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing about that a little bit?
Yeah. So Hank is a young individual here in the Fenton community, and I also work with his mom over at the Fenton London Chamber on many things on different committees. Hank came into our office, and he was working on trying to figure out like a path on what he was going to do for a career. He just graduated high school, started talking about trades and other different avenues like heating and cooling, heavy equipment operating, talking to him about various businesses and whatnot, and then also helping and assisting with his resume a little bit and getting a little bit more tailored and ready to be sent out. But he was really interested in heavy equipment. His ears perked up, thought about it was something that he had already thought about beforehand too. So we set him up with a training provider to go take a tour, AIS, and now he is within our agency. We've got him enrolled, and we're helping sponsor a good portion of his training that is going to take place over at AIS. So when he gets out, which I believe it's going to be a 6-week training, but he's going to come out with several certifications, safety certifications and equipment certifications to operate heavy equipment. So hopefully after he's done, then we'll find a place for him to start his career.
Well, and I got to tell you, I saw him last week. And he was,
I know, wasn't he?
Super excited.
He is.
He's talking about all the certifications he's going to get and
Yeah.
all that stuff. I think that's awesome. And I know from talking to you, like you've had these personal experiences where you've helped make these connections. But one of the interesting things I thought we've talked about is that you actually have a lot of resources for businesses. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? I know that's a little bit more.
Yeah, so there's a lot in our tool bag, I guess, is what I would say, and it's really hard to say everything all in one sitting. It could take several, but yeah. So I'll touch on some of the bigger ones. So yeah, for businesses, when we were talking about those state and federal grants that are out there that are used for training purposes to upskill our workforce, there are some out there. One in particular is the Going Pro Talent Fund.
Okay.
Which is something we help employers out with every year as long as the money is there, but it's a $55 million state grant that's used for training reimbursement. Yeah, it is, and there's a lot of employers in this region that are taking advantage of it, and in the state of Michigan, particularly in our region, there's a lot. And we're doing pretty well with it, but it is a competitive grant. You do have to apply. There's a scoring criteria. Nothing's guaranteed, When you do business and you're working with people, people come and go. You have to pretty much do what you say you're going to do for the year, and it is just a reimbursement too. You get awarded, you got to do the trainings throughout the year, and then you show us that you did all those trainings, and you show us, and they got to be higher level training. They got to be.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, they can't be soft skill training. They got to be technical trainings. Something that they're going to get a certificate, and then they're going to go and they can go to have that certificate with them throughout the rest of their career.
And I think that can be applicable in several different industries. Like I know from working in the trades in the past, there's a structure there, and some people know it as, apprentice, journeyman, foreman, what a superintendent, whatever. But there's different levels of training that you get that make you more capable.
Yep.
So I can see how, like an HVAC company or something would really benefit from that. But like, what about so my wife used to be in insurance. There's some basic training, but then there's all these different certifications that you can get in order to provide more service and make yourself more valuable to the company. Are those things that might fall into that keyhole, or are you guys trying to figure that out?
I'm trying to figure that one out in particular. Because you can go onto the state's website and you can see all the awards for the whole state of Michigan throughout the year. So there's 2 cycles that you can apply for this grant. Once, actually, it's coming up this next cycle for FY25, and then again in the spring we'll have another chance for applications. So
and then you're basically, let me rephrase that, you're helping not just with awareness, right? You're helping these people get their application. Like, I'm sure you're not telling them what to do per se, like the exact words, but here are the things we need from you to make it more likely that you could get this grant.
We're coaching them. So we're coaching them through the application process. There are certain things that the state does require. There's a lot of coaching that's involved, and there's a lot that goes into that grant, and the guide to tell you everything about it. It's pretty thick. So quite a bit of paperwork that comes along with it. So we try to guide them through that process and the application, and really, again, it's going back to getting to know what the business needs are. And really the person that knows what the business needs are is the owner and the people that run the business. I'm not here to tell them how to business.
Right.
I'm just here to try to say, hey, there's some money that's out there that you can probably use to help yourself out, because not everybody's going to want to spend all this money on training.
Right.
We have businesses. Everybody knows what they know. Can I get some help with it? Yes, I would love some help with it. So then they work with us, and then we see if we can do anything to help them out. If they get awarded, then they start training.
I think that's awesome. I got a confession here. Until we met at a networking event, like the idea that there was people out there doing what you're doing, I would never have even crossed my mind. I'm absolutely sure that there are businesses operating in our area that have no idea that you, Roy, and your people, I've met a bunch of people at your office and stuff, a bunch of people with the betterment of the business portion of our society in mind. And I just think that's really cool. I really do think that it's awesome. And, we get inundated with a lot of negative, right? News. And we don't hear about things like this. And it's things like this that I think can make the difference. You're helping a business and that individual, and maybe that individual does come and go, like you said.
Right.
But if they're certified now to work on heat pumps and boilers and whatever, they're going to be in a better position to have a better life if they so choose.
Yeah.
But also, while they're working for that other company, that company is then able to offer more able to do more things because they have more quality. So this is an amazing concept that I just admittedly had no idea
Yeah.
existed.
The point of this too is it's to retain your employees.
Yeah.
So when we go into a business, you or I, we're dropping off our resume ourselves and we're trying to find work. I mean, one of the things I'm asking for is this company, what is this company going to do to help me grow?
Right.
If I hear that this company's willing to spend and invest money into me to be trained to do a job and then do a higher level job, I'm going to take that with a little bit more than the other company that's not going to do that, obviously,
Right.
because I want to grow in a career.
Well,
I can't
and
do
you're
that.
probably more likely to stay
Right.
because you feel like there's an investment in you, that this company has given you something they're not just taking, right? They're not just
Exactly.
taking your hours and giving you a paycheck. They're
Yep.
like bettering you.
Yep.
And just to jump back to that coaching thing, I mean, I now really understand everybody could use a coach. Having somebody in your life who can push you or teach you or just listen to
Right.
you as you're struggling and let you know that, your struggle is good and you're going to get to a better place. The coaching thing to me was always like football, soccer. I never really thought about it from a life perspective. And I know that that's kind of a burgeoning, newer business, but I have seen the benefits over and over again. So the fact that you guys are coaching businesses and employees to make things better, I think is just awesome.
And then there's a lot of people that say that too. Not really sure what Michigan Works does. I didn't, when I'll be with Michigan Works 2 years come October. How I found this position was I went to a job fair that I probably had. It was for manufacturing. I wasn't trying to find a job in manufacturing. I just want to talk to somebody. I wasn't getting any hits on my resume, and I was like, well, there's a job fair at Michigan Works. Why don't I go try it out? Next thing you know, I'm talking to another business solutions professional like myself now and having a conversation. That's how I found it. And then I didn't realize they had featured job boards. They had resume workshops. They have, things for careers and postings and that. So that's what we got. You come on down to Owen Road,
Yeah.
Into the plaza.
Well, I highly recommend. Are there any upcoming events or anything that you would like to highlight for our listeners?
Yeah, so we got quite a few, like I had said. The Going Pro Talent Fund, we actually have that up and coming. The next round of application, like I said, is coming on up. We actually have information sessions, which is one of the requirements of doing so. We have one here in Fenton coming on up September 27th. There is a morning session and an afternoon session. So you can learn everything about going pro and see if your business is a fit, or at least give it a shot.
Right.
And coach you on that. Fenton Wine and Brewery, like I said, we have that employer showcase. We have that event on Tuesday, September 24th. We also work with concrete contractor in this area, Fessler and Bowman. They will actually be one of our up and coming employer showcases for the month of October. They are actually helping. They're having an open house on Saturday, the 21st, from 9 to 12. So if you want to think about a trade, whether it's just being, starting into concrete, working your way up to becoming a finisher, I would definitely recommend going to either one of these because they're both great opportunities.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, and I can vouch, at least for Fenton Winery and Brewery,
Yeah.
that they have been very good employers too.
Yeah.
So,
we actually created an apprenticeship program with them too.
Oh, nice.
So for chef, and they actually have slots open right now. So if somebody had actually thought about becoming a chef, they worked with us and GST, Michigan Works helped them create a U.S. Department of Labor apprenticeship for chef. And it's also a partnership where the student/employee would be going to school at Mott Community College for their culinary program while they're working in-house for Fenton Wine and Brewery. So that was one of the
That's really
programs that
cool.
we did. So
That's really
and your
cool.
daughter's working in the kitchen, right?
Yeah,
Like
my
you
daughter
said?
Christina, she's working there. She's very happy. She's had a very good experience in the kitchen.
It's an awesome place. And
I think that's great. I will happily take some of that information and post it. And then,
actually, and so one of the best places to see some of this information is our Facebook pages or our website. We have an events page on there, gstmiworks.org. Each of our offices all have their own Facebook page, so I would definitely take a look because we do a lot of these. Any of these event flyers or job postings or anything are going to go on there from our team. And then and one last big one that we got coming on up, and this is a really big one for Genesee County. It's 2024 MI Career Quest, which is going to be held at the Dordt Financial Event Center.
Oh, yeah.
And that is really for the students within Genesee County. What we do is we invite all the kids on out, juniors and seniors typically, bring them on out to the Dordt Financial Event Center where we have as many Genesee County employers as we can bring. And the hope is that the employers will bring something to that day to get the kids really thinking about a career that they might not have thought of before. Yeah. And there's a bunch of fun ones that will be there. So I'm looking forward to it. But that's
awesome. That's
October 23rd. But if there is a business that's out there that thinks that they would want to get into it, they got to give us a call here pretty soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, space is limited.
Right.
It's time for my Rockin' Realtor quiz. This is sponsored by Elite Agents, powered by eXp Realty. There are no right or wrong answers. Oh. I really want to stress that. This is not that you're not graded. 3 questions. You ready?
All right.
What is your go-to song when you're getting ready to go out on the town with your spouse?
Man, you're really putting me on the spot.
It's your go-to song, right? Like, so mine is a song by a gentleman called Mayor Hawthorne. He's actually from Ann Arbor, and it's called Henny and Ginger Ale. But it's a really, like, upbeat,
yeah.
Like, hey, we're going out, kind of.
I like some old school stuff, whether it's rock or hip hop. Maybe some 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Like some In the Club. I don't know.
Yeah, that's sweet. I like it.
I always like a good beat. Yeah. Hopefully my wife would agree with that. I don't know. She's probably like, you picked In the Club by 50 Cent. Come on.
There's no right or wrong answers. Have you ever owned or do you currently own any of the following? A cassette Walkman.
Have I ever?
Yeah.
I would think so. At some point or another, yes.
A CD Walkman.
Oh, yeah.
A boombox.
Sure. Yeah.
A record player.
I actually think I had one of those too.
All right. An iPod.
Yeah.
An 8-track. No.
I bet you I know where there is one though.
I never owned one.
I think Frank, my father-in-law's got one in his living room actually.
I bet he does. My dad had one for a minute in one of his cars. He had a few 8-tracks. And then I saw a car. They had record players that would play the old, like, singles.
Okay.
Very limited. But you could put the record in and spin it while you were driving. I have no idea how effective that would be, with a needle and bumps. All right, last question.
Okay.
You are an established bass player, and you get to pick the singer and lead guitarist for your next. Do you pick Robert Plant and Jimmy Page, Ann and Nancy Wilson, or Bono and the Edge?
Robert Plant.
Okay. I don't know. Robert Plant, Jimmy Page.
I'll be honest. I mean, that's just not like, I like listening to music, all things music, but
Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin. Right?
Yeah. No. I knew that it was Led Zeppelin. I just
know that Ann and Nancy Wilson are heart. That's
they're sisters. I don't know.
Ooh, Barracuda.
Is that Barracuda?
Yeah.
I'm just not good with the names.
You're good. So Bono and the Edge are U2. That's the lead singer.
Yes. I mean, I think I've seen U2 in concert. Obviously, I haven't seen Zeppelin.
I tell this story, and I'm not sure how accurate it is, but my mom was pregnant with me. She went to see Led Zeppelin at the Silver. So I like to refer to that as my first concert.
Well,
I don't remember it, though.
I would imagine the sound had to have been crazy in the Silverdome here.
Yeah, well.
And if it was Zeppelin, I'm sure it was loud.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure. I want to thank you so much for coming in and sharing all that information. I know you have a ton of additional information that you could share. But for my listeners and anybody who's watching, if you have questions about the amazing power that Roy has to help with employer resources, people can get a hold of me, 248-462-0776, and I will connect you. They can find you on Facebook.
Yep.
Look for GST Michigan Works, right? Mm-hmm. That would be their best bet. And we can, help you get on the right path to improved employment. And hopefully, if you're getting paid a little more, maybe you want to buy or sell, improve your home ownership.
Yeah.
So
right.
It's a circular, right? Circular, up and down.
That's right.
So, would you like to be a guest on the Rockin' Realtor Show? Text me directly at Jonathan Dugan, 248-462-0776, and we can riff on air about your expertise, your passion project, or your experiences in the community. And I just want to say thank you again, Roy.
Thank you, John.
I really appreciate you being here. You are a great part of what I refer to as my band of experts.
Awesome.
I can't know everything, so I rely on other people, just like a band can't play all the instruments unless you're Dick Van Dyke. You got to be able to spread the love. So thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate it.
This has been a lot of fun.
So let's jump into the Rockin' Realtor Classic Rock album review. It was the end of the 80s, and U2 was one of the most successful bands of the decade. sold out shows all over the world, and a successful release of their live album and movie, Rattle and Hum. They appeared to be really on top of the world, but the band itself was feeling stuck. They felt trapped by the decade and the expectations of the record executives and their fans, and the band was exhausted. They weren't sure if they even wanted to carry on. Akitung Baby was the result of chopping down the Joshua Tree. Akitung was a bold shift for the band where they moved into a new decade and embraced an experimental sound that left an indelible mark on rock, pop, and the electronic music scene. When this album was released, Rolling Stone wrote that Akitung Baby may be the best thing they've ever done. It's a deep, dark, and joyful masterpiece. And Entertainment Weekly said this is the boldest and best album that the band to date. They shed their previous image and emerged with something far more daring and vibrant. The band also held this album up as a triumph. Bono, on the reinvention of U2's sound, said, "We had to go away and dream it all up again." This album was about tearing down the walls we'd built around ourselves as a band and as individuals. It was a moment of total reinvention. The Edge, on the creative process, he said there was a lot of experimentation and a lot of tension. But out of the chaos came something new for us, a more angular, industrial, and European sound that reflected the changing times we were living in. It wasn't an easy record to make. There were moments where they weren't even sure if they would finish it, but once they started, they knew they had something special. I bought this CD at Kmart. As a child of the 80s, I was familiar with U2's hits and their activism, but this album converted me to a huge fan. The album is full of excellent lyrics and awesome guitar riffs. The album really is perfection from beginning to end. With the slow burn of One to the driving forcefulness of Acrobat, you get a great entourage of music and texture. The pinnacle song for me is Mysterious Ways. A hit on the radio in the early 90s, it still gets me dancing today. I love this band, I love this album, and I encourage you to do a deep dive into this record and their whole catalog as soon as possible. Do you love this album? Do you hate U2? Do you have suggestions on my next album review? Shoot me a quick text, Jonathan Dugan at your Rockin' Realtor, 248-462-0776, and let's chat about music and more. Did you miss a portion or a whole episode of the Rockin' Realtor podcast? Check out my podcast on Spotify and Amazon. There you will find past episodes and other great information. So check it out and make sure you leave a comment. It's time for some riffs and responses, the Rockin' Realtor Show Q&A segment where I answer your real estate, rock and roll, and general life questions. My first question comes from Scott. Should I put my house on the market now or wait till spring? Hey Scott, thanks for the question. Now is the time, in my opinion. With interest rates starting to flatten out, I expect a fall push for buyers. And with the election coming and nothing guaranteed in the future, I believe the time is now. Fall is a great time for pictures, and you will have a chance to get your money before the holiday season. Of course, everyone's circumstances are different, so I highly recommend you give me a call and we can sit down and talk about a plan that's right for you. And my next question comes from Kenny. I noticed you like to go to lots of concerts. Who have you seen the most, and what was your favorite concert? There was a time in my life when I had seen Primus about 10 times and also the Deftones at least 10 times in about 2.5 years. I worked at Harmony House for a while and had access to Ticketmaster, so I didn't have to sleep outside in order to get tickets to good shows. I saw Nine Inch Nails a ton of times, especially in the 90s, but I've seen them recently. Always a great show. The show they did with Soundgarden at Pine Knob was truly amazing. They both co-headlined the show. It was a great show. I was so glad to be there. I traveled to see Phish all over the place in the late 90s and early 2000s, and ultimately I love live music. I've seen a whole bunch of bands multiple times, and some bands, like this year for the first time I got to see Kenny Chesney. It was a great show. My real answer is the Dave Matthews Band. I see the Dave Matthews Band every summer that they come, and sometimes I go see them multiple times. I saw them 3 times already this year, and I noticed that they booked a gig in Columbus, and I might go see them again. That's my favorite show to go see. It's always high energy. They do their classic hits, so you get the stuff you really love, but they improv a little bit, so it's never quite the same every time. So I'm a slappy for Dave Matthews. I know he's a bit of a polarizing figure. Some people love him, some people hate him. I highly recommend you come see a show. Just want to thank you all for listening. Do you have any questions about real estate, rock and roll, or life in general? You can always call or text me directly at 248-462-0776, and I will get back to you. You can also find me at dugansellsrealestate.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Amazon. If you put in DuganSellsRealEstate.com, you will find me, and there is a way to get a hold of me. Be good to your neighbors. We're all neighbors. Until next time, keep rocking and rolling with the best of real estate, classic rock, and I will see you on the flippity flip side.